Hi everyone, I'm Tanna and I'm going to be talking about human-computer interaction in airplanes. My research activity explores the impact of human-computer interaction in aviation throughout history and how it has changed. Computers are a major component of almost every aspect of aviation. Today I will discuss the impressive advancements of the aviation industry starting in 1903 up until the present. In the early days, the only recording devices available to a pilot in the airplane was a stopwatch and an anemometer. As airplanes started to get more advanced, autopilots and a manual flight control system were invented. Manual flight control systems use a series of pulleys, tension cables, and heavy wires to trigger motion in the elevator, aileron, and rudder, which control the roll, pitch, and yaw of the airplane, which allow the airplane to move in any direction in 3D space. In the 1950s, airplane controls started to become automated with fly-by-wire, which replaced manual flight controls with an electronic interface. When the pilot moves the side stick, a signal is sent to a computer through multiple wires. In modern aviation, almost every aspect of the process is automated, from flight simulators for pilot training to computer-driven displays in the cockpit and the computer flying the airplane during autopilot. In 1903, the Wright Flyer was the first airplane ever invented. All human-computer interaction in the first airplane was a pulley system used for wing warping. Wing warping is a technique that the pilots use to speed up the aircraft. A stopwatch and an anemometer that measures the speed of the wind were mounted to the pilot's right. These were used to measure distance and speed of the flight. The first few flights were only about 12 seconds long. In the early days of aviation, airplanes required the full attention of the pilot. As the range of the airplanes increased to the point where one flight could last up to 2 hours, pilots started experiencing serious fatigue. Pilot fatigue could lead to crashes and malfunctions of the airplane because every part of the aircraft was directly controlled by the pilot. The first autopilot was designed in 1912 to alleviate the pressure of the pilot at all times and to make sure the passengers would remain safe even if the pilot was experiencing that fatigue. It used a gyroscope, heading indicator, and attitude indicator, allowing the airplane to fly straight and level course by itself. In the early days, a manual flight control system was used. A manual flight control system uses a combination of push rods, tension cables, pulleys, and chains to control the airplane. In a manual flight control system, the pilot is in control of all of this except for when autopilot is engaged and the airplane can move on everything on its own. The pilot moves the control stick and pedals to adjust the rudder, elevator, and aileron, and this is what allows the plane to move in any direction in 3D space, as discussed before. In the 1950s, fly-by-wire was invented. Fly-by-wire is a system that replaces manual flight controls with an electronic interface. This is a much easier and more lightweight option that brings the human-computer interaction of airplanes into the future. When the pilot moves the side stick, a signal is sent to a computer through multiple wires, hence fly-by-wire. The fly-by-wire system replaces heavy mechanical control cables found in mechanical flight control systems with electronic signals transmitted through the wires. This is easier for the airplane to handle because of the lightweight of the wires and because it's more accurate and precise. Now, in modern aviation, every step of the process of becoming a pilot and flying an airplane involves human-computer interaction. Flight simulators are sufficiently realistic and they allow pilots to be trained. So before the pilot even flies, they will be immersed in human-computer interaction. The aircrafts now use computer-driven displays, so the pilot must be able to control the interface on the airplane. And during autopilot, a computer will actually be flying the plane, so the pilot must be familiar with all the controls in the interface. Modern pilots must memorize hundreds of switches and buttons. Interestingly enough, the main human-computer interaction has stayed similar to the early airplanes, with only a main control stick and pedals along with the interface. So like in every industry, aviation is becoming more and more automated. Now all aspects of flight control involve human-computer interaction. In the future, will airplanes need pilots? Could they be fully autonomous? As we've seen with Uber copters, maybe the only human-computer interaction with an airplane will be with an application. Anything is possible. Thank you.